Okay, so I think we are live. Big welcome, everyone, to today's webinar. Hello. A session that is focused on helping you level up your business, which I can tell is it's a very big promise, right? It's a very broad promise, and there's many ways that we could be leveling up our businesses. So what we wanted to do today, me and Kayle, is really to run you through an exercise. We're going to keep this fairly short. We're going to focus on doing it in 30 minutes, where we want to help you find areas to focus on over the next 30 days that will make a difference in your business when it comes to leveling up what you're doing to achieve what you want with your business. So let me share my screen with you. I hope you can see that okay. Just let us know in the chat if sound is coming through and you can see that. And what I want to call out as well, since this will be a workshop, so we want you to do some work here. If you have some notepad next to you, a piece of paper, that can be helpful, or in just a notes app somewhere where you can grab notes. Just want to call that out now. So if you need to kind of run around the table and get something, you can still do that. And while you do that, I think it would be good to do a quick introduction to who we have here, so we know who we have on both sides here. So if you want to let us know in the chat where you're calling in from, would be super helpful, what type of business you run, maybe, just so that we get a feel for who we have here. And while you do that, we will just shortly introduce ourselves as well. So my name is John Hallberg, and if we haven't met, so I run the Salon business, which is Mangomint's education platform, business education platform. So this is really where I try to help business owners, level up their business, among other things. And I've been doing this for 13 years. I've been in this industry, and I've been fortunate to work with many business owners in different capacities. And so today I'm really trying to draw on that experience and trying to bring that into this workshop to make it as helpful as I possibly can for you. So, and I'm here, not here alone. So we have Kayle here as well. Hey, Kayle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayle. I am a salon operations specialist, spent about 15 years in the salon and spa world in managerial and administrative capacities and training especially. And I'm also a salon software expert. For those of you that do know me from the salonbusiness.com, I'm a resident salon and spa software tester and expert there. And we're going to talk a lot about that today as we talk about leveling up your salon or spa.
Awesome. And hi, Michelle, as well from Phoenix. Great to have you here. I see Agam as well from Nashville. So we have a hair salon as well in there. So, and a men's spa, exciting. So, big welcome everyone to this session. We're going to try to make it as helpful as we possibly can. If there's some question that comes up as we go, the chat is there and we're live here, right? So if there's something that comes up, just put it in there and we'll try to address that towards the end or as we go. We'll see how we manage that as we go along. But again, coming back to just the goal of what we want to do today. So we want to help you identify any energy leaks that you have in your business. And I like to think about business in energetic terms, because business isn't, as you know, only about money, right? And money is one form of energy. There's other forms of energy. There's your time that you're putting into your business. There's business assets that you're building in terms of your brand and your reputation. And there's even your physical and your mental energy that you're putting into your business, right? And, they all take different forms, these energies, and they can be converted to each other, right? You could use money to buy time and vice versa. And depending on what stage you are in your business, you might be putting in more of your time, more of your passion, maybe. Whereas, if you're starting out new, or if you have a more established business, hopefully you built up some money as well. And that's a form of energy that you can use and to put back into your business. So independently, if we're talking about what currency of energy, what we want to make sure is that whatever you're putting into your business, if that's time, if that's money, whatever you're putting in, that you're actually getting more back from it. So, because if not, it will be hard to build a successful business and to reinvest in that business. And frankly, if you're not getting back what you're putting in, you will likely be running out of energy after a while as well. So it's really important that we make sure that we don't have any energy leaks, or that we minimize our energy leaks. And this really starts by identifying what they are. And so that's what we want to focus on in today's exercise. So the way we're going to do this is really to walk you through. So we call this like the 6-pillar exercise. It's something that I've run, in these type of sessions before. So what we're going to do is just walk you through like these 6 pillars that typically makes up a successful business. And it's typically when we have an energy leak in the business, it's in one of those 6 pillars or in several of those 6 pillars. So we're going to go rather quickly over each of those, which is really covering like your full business. And what I want you to do in this exercise is to just make a note. If you have a piece of paper, if you have something available, just make a note. If like when we talk about one of these pillars, if you feel like you feel anxious about it, you feel uncomfortable about that particular thing, just note it down. And if there's any other thoughts that comes with that, you can also note that down as well. If there's any thoughts on why you might be feeling that, but don't spend like too much time, because the purpose here is that in like fairly short time, we want to cover like a lot of aspects of your business and like give you that stimuli to see and to spot if there's something that we feel is off, that we should be doing something differently, and to just like note that down. So we want to do this, fairly quickly. And these are the 6 different pillars that makes up a successful business, a successful service business, and that we're going to focus on. So just real quick, we're going to be talking about mindset, then we're going to dive into client experience and service. Then we're going to go into marketing and sales, then system and operations, team and finances, right? So as you can tell, there's quite a lot here. So again, the goal is not to like build a plan for each of those. Like if we were to do that, this would be, a 2-week workshop and not just like 30 minutes workshop. So the goal here is just to spot like where do we have opportunity to do something and drive focus for like a 30-day plan coming out after this. So I hope you're ready to dive into all of that. Are you ready, Kayle?
Ready, let's do it.
All right. Awesome. So let's start with mindset. Great, say Patty. So mindset is honestly like the biggest one. This is typically where we have the biggest potential to really level up and to really change what we're doing. That's my experience. And I've had the opportunity to work with many business owners in like a coaching capacity, if like one-on-one, but also in group sessions. And I've found like over and over that typically we start that conversation with like some type of tactic or some marketing activity or something that is not working. And when we start to dig into that to understand what's going on, it often comes down to like mindset more so than, whether that Google ad or whether that membership program was like, set up in a certain way. It comes down to mindset. Like, why are we not delegating this? Or, why are you not like, when we build your brand, why not bring your full self into that? Or why are we just like avoiding a part of our business that, there's all these things that is happening up here that we need to deal with. And that's, again, in my experience, where like the biggest change can happen. So let me just double click on this real quick, because mindset is not something that is like stagnant. It's something that, you will need to come back to and work with over time. Like the challenges and the mindset barriers you might have will evolve with you, right? And as you progress in your business, or as you even, progress in life, the mindset barriers that you will face that might be holding you back will be different. And so kind of the question that I want to pose here is also like, are we holding on to some old beliefs that might have helped us when we first started out, when it was only us in our business? Some things that really helped us then that we're now like keep holding, like something that used to work maybe in the past, but the external environment has changed, or our environment has changed, but we're still like hanging on to that because we've seen that working, and now that doesn't serve us for where we want to go next. So this could be one of those areas. And at the same time, we will need to, just as we level up over time, we have different roles in our business and we wear many different hats. And, because if you run a service business like you do, So we have, spa and salon businesses here. You have different roles. You're both the owner of the business, meaning like you have the investor role and you want to take that, financial view of what you're doing. Like, is this business profitable? Is this a good investment? Like, that's how you want to think about it, right? As an owner of that business. But you're also like the CEO and the manager. You're the one that runs the operation. You're the one that hires your team. You're the one that keeps your team motivated and like really runs the operations, which is a different way of thinking, while you're at the same time the entrepreneur, right? You're the one who started this business. You're the one with the vision behind it. You're the one with the big thinking and the big exciting plans on where you want to take that next. And it's not uncommon as well that you're also the service provider and that you're working in that business with clients every day. And I don't know about you, but for me, it can be very hard sometimes to switch between those, because it requires a different level of thinking depending on where you're, which role and which hat that you're wearing. And it can be important to, I find, to, get a little bit more systematic around this and making sure that you're putting yourself into those different contexts where you're taking different types of decisions and doing different types of work in your business. The last piece that I want to touch on as well when it comes to mindset, which is a huge one, which is just limiting beliefs or limiting thought patterns, subconscious programming, things that we have inherited, maybe even from like young years, up to the environment that we're in right now, because we're being influenced by everything around us, right? And some of those thought patterns that we have either inherited or just like picked up from somewhere, we made them our truths, but they might not be. And it's quite often that they can just be holding us back. Obviously, this is like a big piece of work, like going into like this area and uncovering what they are and doing that type of work. But what I want to leave you with here, which is more like a practical thinking, is just who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are facing similar challenges as you do in your business, or even better, with like people who have been through what you have been through? And are you putting yourself in that context where you're kind of having those interactions? Because that can be a great way also to help you like see things differently, or see things, opening up opportunities for you that might be hard if you have other influences, basically, that is driving that, like the way you might be looking at the world and the thought patterns that you have. So that's an area that, to think about as well. All right, that was mindset, which again is a big one. It's a big area. But I hope that was just like to give you some stimuli to think about, like, is there potentially an opportunity for you here to do some work, and could this be an area that you want to focus on? Could this be an area where we have energy leaks? What we want to move on next is a core part of your business. So what we're talking about is your service and the experience that you're delivering in your business. So I'll hand over to you for that, Kayle.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Yeah, I think this is a great, a great tandem piece to that. Like John said, the service that you provide, the experience you give your clients is the core of your business. It's the, I mean that holistically too. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, obviously with the service you provide is important, but the overall experience that you give is so much more than just the service that you provide. And I want to double click on that here in this next slide. Because if that experience isn't consistently good, and I mean on par with or ideally better each time your clients visit, you're kind of leaving money on the table. And I'll circle back around to that more in a minute. But for right now, I want to focus on a simple question here on this next slide that helps quantify our efforts a little bit clearer. And that is, something that we can easily quantify, right? Are clients rebooking? Right? This is quite possibly your most direct method of assessing whether or not your client experience is really making an impact. And this seems like a simple one, right? This is the one method we can all track within whatever salon or spa software we're using. And we can point to a metric, right? And it's the easiest way to find out if our clients are generally happy with the service that we provide. But it's really just the tip of the iceberg, pardon the pun, with our image here. Because rebooking as a metric, it's a great starting point. It's something that you can see, but if it's down, that statistic alone isn't going to tell you what's wrong with your client experience, right? So let's ask a question that's a little harder to quantify, but it'll help us dig deeper and lead us to ask even better questions that maybe will be quantifiable. And that's, do you exceed customer expectations? You know, your clients come in for the service that they get from their service provider. That's obvious, but they come back because the service is consistently delightful across all aspects of their interaction with your business, right? So that means that their interactions with your front desk are easy and they're professionally handled. You know, their wait time is brief and it's well communicated. Their interaction with their service provider is engaging and appropriate. And the finished product is beautiful every time, right? And when they check out, they're never surprised by the ticket price, and that next appointment's going to go on the calendar without too much thought from that client, right? There's so many elements there, so many touch points, right, that are easily sort of lost in the shuffle potentially. So how do we quantify that, right? And I think the best way to look at this is, well, how are you tracking feedback, right? What feedback do you actually get from clients? And I feel like this is something that can get easily lost in the shuffle. This is, you know, feedback from your clientele is given in so many ways, whether it's, you know, verbally, casually, a comment here or there. Those details can be given in any, you know, to any number of people on your staff and through any number of interactions that they have throughout their visit. But being able to properly and sort of formally record that information and keep track of it needs to be a focus for your business. And I think that's where so many otherwise seemingly successful businesses are really dropping the ball still, because they're not automating the collection of that information, you know, to help continue to grow and evolve as a business and to continue to level up that service that they do provide. And they're not really turning those elements that are harder to see, you know, those thoughts, those feelings, those nuanced details of the client experience into actually actionable data that allows the business to prove to their clientele that they're listening, you know, to prove that they're growing with them and that they do care about their patronage. And that goes so much farther than I think a lot of business owners really realize. John, I know we've talked about this a bit too, and it's really easier than ever to automate in your business. So if you're not currently incentivizing and collecting customer feedback right now, I highly encourage you to make that a priority for 2024. It's a major one that can make a major impact. You know, we've got 6 months left of the year. We've got half the year left to really focus on that. So I want you to think about that one, write that one down. If it's something you're not currently doing or it makes you nervous, that's a good thing. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But I'm going to pass it back to John now, because I think, John, we're going to talk about marketing and sales next. And you really are the guru to talk to on this one. So.
Well, let's see. But we're not going to go that deep on marketing and sales. I do really believe also like what you just walked through, Kayle, when it comes to like the service and the experience that you deliver. Like, obviously that's like your best form of marketing, when you get people that are satisfied, that are returning, that are talking about you and that are sharing with their friends on the different platforms that are available for that, their experience with you, right? That's the best form of marketing. But there's more we can do when it comes to marketing, of course. And you are doing things here. So I just wanted to kind of give you some thought starters to like prompt you a bit here, which is firstly, like, do you enjoy the type of marketing that you're doing? Because today there's almost like endless of ways that you can market your business. You know, you can run paid ads on social platforms, on search platforms. You can use SEO or search engine optimization, right? To make sure that you're showing up with your business when people are searching for your services. You can use social media. I'm sure you have some level of social presence on one of the platforms. There's many to choose from. You have like email marketing, or you can use, I mean, there's like endless, right, of different ways that you could be marketing your business. And I find this often that, you know, all of that can be like overwhelming. But if we take that and we focus on the things that like more come naturally to either us, that we enjoy doing, or to our team, because today a lot of marketing is about creating content, especially if you're, like we saw Hair Salon, for example, earlier, like if you're in transformational businesses that actually do like a visual transformation, like being able to share those transformations and being able to share that online is important, right? So to create that content, have your team involved, to create, kind of have that capacity to do that. At the same time, like a question to ask is really like, are you attracting the type of clients that you want to have in your business today? Or do you find yourself that you're serving a group of clients that is not necessarily like who you who you want to be serving, but for one reason or another, those are the ones that you're currently attracting. Like, is there an opportunity here to do something on your positioning, on pricing, on like your brand, in order to be attracting more of that group of people that you want to be attracting? And finally, like, what are you doing to really maximize the value of the visits to your business? Are you using tools like, add-ons, or allowing people to customize their services, to increase the value of each appointment? How comfortable are you and your team with promoting retail products, or making sure that you, like, not promoting, but honestly, that's like a service offer, right? That's part of the service, that people also leave with the right product that they need to take care of that at home as well. Like, what are you doing there to make sure you're increasing the value of each visit? That would be just like some thought starters. Like, are there opportunities here? Do you feel that there could be, and then there's a leak in here, and that we should be looking more into? So that's what I wanted to cover on marketing. And I'll hand over to you, Kayle, for operations as well, since this is clearly like systems and operations. If you've been on the YouTube channel, you'll have seen Kayle talk about systems. So yeah, I'll hand over to you for that.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Yeah, and I think marketing ties in well to the systems that we do use. We've talked a lot about the different systems that I've tested and you've tested on the channel. And, there's a lot of them that are fantastic, and a lot of them that provide an experience that, maybe wasn't fully well-rounded. But yeah, on this next slide here, we're gonna dig into systems and operations a little bit, and this is more than just the software you use. This is also the systems the processes that you have in place in your business. And I think some good questions to sort of get your thoughts going on this and really assess, is there an energy leak there? To start with, right? Let's start with something that's a little broader. That's maybe something symptomatic, right? Do things fall apart when you're not around? And if that question freaks you out right now, if you're getting alarm bells in your head because that strikes true with you a little bit, I want to talk about that a little bit more, right? Because this is one of those operational issues that's sort of a dead giveaway, that there aren't like procedures and processes in place to maintain your success. And, if your business only functions properly when you're around, then this is kind of a hard truth, then you currently don't have the infrastructure for a successful business, right? And by that, I mean, it's not scalable. It doesn't have the legs to go long term because you can't really be the sole factor that props your business up. That load absolutely needs to be shared. And if that's the case, then you do need to take an honest look at your management and at your administrative resources to find out where those weak points are. And it may be with you, you may be trying to take on too much yourself. And if your business is successful, but it's only successful when you're around, then I highly encourage you to think about that, right? Because if that's the case, then your priority really should be on training or hiring the talent that you have or you need to maintain that success, whether you're in, your salon or spa or not. But, beyond just those processes, let's pivot for a second and talk about the systems we use. Because I've used booking and client management tools that have helped me better run my salons and spas, and I've used far more that got in the way of just getting work done. And, like I said, I test salon and spa software for a living. I know the ins and outs of just about every piece of booking software on the market. And I'm genuinely blown away by how needlessly complicated simple tasks like adding a new client or even moving an appointment are in some of them. And I'm also really impressed by some of the newer booking and management software out there. This is one of the reasons why the salon business is powered by Mangomint. It's one of the reasons why we recommend it so highly, is because of the great experience it provides and the level of efficiency it allows, the businesses we've worked with to maintain. So if your system is frustrating to use, right? If it's an obstacle between you and your clients, if it's making simple tasks more difficult, it's a great time to consider your other options, because I can promise you that not every system is like that. If you want to learn more, you can check that out on thesalonbusiness.com or on our YouTube channel. But the long and short of it is, you don't have to put up with a bad software experience in 2024, and a really simple way to analyze this, is by asking yourself, how much time do you spend on repeatable work that could be delegated or automated? We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when we talked about the service and experience element, but collecting feedback is really just one aspect of automation in your business. I want you to think about the things that you do in your business every single day, day after day, whether that's making confirmation calls, whether that's checking your cancellation list, even taking your, a new client's name or credit card number or, phone number on the phone to book the first appointment. So many businesses are still really doing this manually every single day. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with that in particular, but these tasks tend to take up quite a bit of time each day. And they're tasks that can be almost entirely automated without compromising the client experience. And in fact, it can even improve the client experience for those clients that are in your doors, right? They're standing right in front of you. They're at your register. They're in your chair. So rather than dedicating that time to being on the phone or being on the computer, handling those, routine or repeatable tasks, your front desk and management staff can focus on being present for the clients that are standing right in front of them. And they can help you focus on the big picture things that are actually going to help you level up your business. It's almost June. We talked about this. You've got 6 months left in the year to make a big impact. So I want you to think honestly about how much of your business's time is spent on those routine tasks. And if you're not already using tools to automate the basic stuff, I highly encourage you to find out if your current software offers the tools to do so. And if it doesn't, I encourage you to consider making the switch to a system that does. Something that can actually make a night and day difference in your efficiency. And I guarantee it will help you level up your systems and operations in a way that maybe you didn't expect or didn't know you could do. But John, I think this is probably a great time to pivot a little bit here and talk about the ops conversation. Another important point in the ops conversation. We can't really talk about leveling up your business without talking about the most important piece of your business, which is your culture and your team, right? This is something we can all relate to, I'm sure, and it's definitely something that we've all thought about at some point in our career as salon or spa owners or managers. I'd be surprised if anybody here hadn't at some point asked themselves if they've hired the right people. And on this next slide here, we're gonna dig into that a little bit deeper. Have I hired the right people is a pretty broad question to ask. We have ideas about what we want our culture to look like. Or what we want our team to embody, but it's a little bit harder to actually quantify that, right? So I want to ask some more detailed questions here to help us dive in a little bit deeper and actually help quantify that information. And for some of you, this may be obvious, but I think it's a helpful exercise either way to really wrap your mind around the qualities that are important. So first, let's talk about, what's the knowledge level of your team? And this applies across your entire team, right? Whether it's your stylists, your estheticians, or your front desk staff or management, are they highly qualified? Do they have years of experience? Or are you working with maybe newer service professionals that are still building their clientele, right? Because this is going to make a huge difference in how you build them and continue to build them as time goes on, and with the opportunities that they provide you and the opportunities that you provide to them as well. And this will affect the way that you market your salon. It'll affect the way you distribute your clientele and much, much more. And also, I think we need to ask ourselves a really important question, and that's, is your current team excited to work toward your purpose and your vision, right? Because all the training in the world isn't going to make much of a difference if your team doesn't believe in the mission for your business. And if you're getting eye rolls and, side eyes, if the vibe is of frustration when you're trying to get your team to rally behind you, then there's a fundamental mismatch, I think, with the way that your staff and your vision line up that needs to be corrected. And this is a difficult topic, right? This is something that's very anxiety producing. But I think it leads perfectly to our next point, which is, does your team align with your vibe and your values, right? Are they a good culture fit? Do they align with your direction? Do they align with your leadership? When you have a particular initiative or you have to draw a line in the sand on something, a particular topic in your business, is it something that your team rallies behind, or is it something that you get pushback on? Is it something that gets talked about in the back room when you're not around? These are hard questions to ask, and they're even harder topics to actually address, in your business. But no one wants to have those awkward conversations. I really understand that. But if there is a conflict on your team, at the end of the day, it has to be addressed and it has to be resolved. So sometimes that means relationships get stronger and your team gets stronger and closer together. And sometimes that means that someone who's not a good culture fit, moves on. But either way, I think now is really the time to take a hard look at your culture and your business, see if it aligns with your vision. And, if this part of the conversation makes you uncomfortable, that's a good thing. Okay. Look at this as an opportunity. If you have a feeling something isn't quite right, then you're already sort of on the right path there. You know, those spidey senses are tingling for a good reason. So I want you to write that down, think on it this week in your business, and really, you know, assess what might be the best way to address it.
Yeah. Thanks, Kayle. I mean, systems, operations, team, big areas for sure. We are starting to get closer to the half-hour mark that we wanted to do for the exercise. So I want to make sure we tackle also the final part of the 6 pillars that we're walking you through. And I'll be briefer on this one. But this is about your finances. And as we talked about earlier, like, because you know, profit is typically that like excess energy, right, that we're creating in our business when we're getting more back. Often that takes the form of comes in the form of profit. So when we looked at like the different roles as well earlier, like when we look at the finances, this is really when you come in as that investor. You have the investor role, we have the like business owner role. When we start, you know, looking at your finances. So some of the thought starters or questions that you can ask yourself here when it comes to finances specifically is just generally, like, do you feel that your business today is supporting the lifestyle that you want? Is it enabling you in the way it should be enabling you with all that energy that you're putting into the business? Are you getting more back? Is that the case? Or do you feel that there's something that is not right here? And also, like, when you just look at costs that you have in your business, it's very easy to, over time, that we build up, you know, subscriptions, we build up different fixed costs. And I really like encourage any business owners, like on a yearly basis, to just look at all the costs that we have, all the reoccurring costs in our business that we're incurring. Is there an opportunity for us to get rid of some? Because even if they might be small, like typically there's quite a few of them, and they go straight to your bottom line and hurts that profit and the excess energy that we're creating in the business. And as a final thought as well, I mean, previously Kayle walked you through like systems, operations, and processes, which is all about like building a business that functions also like when you're not in the business. And thinking about a day that might come in the future when you want to exit your business and sell it, like, is the business I'm building right now, is it sellable? Or would you know, if I remove myself from the equation, that this business just fall apart and there's not like value for someone else to take over this business? That's something that you know, I encourage you to start thinking about before you come to that point when it's like, okay, now I want to move on, now I want to sell it, and we haven't really thought that through, right? So that we're actually building our business from start, building our processes in a way that we actually have something that can be sold if we choose to go down that path one day as well. So we did it. We walked through all the 6 different pillars. So I understand that was like just a lot of information coming at you at the same time. And that was kind of the intent with this exercise as well, was to just like walk through those different areas to help you like spot if there's anything that like, yeah, there is something here that is not right, and to note that down on a paper. And that exercise will not be valuable, or we will have wasted our time today unless we move to action, right? So what I want you to do now is just like get that note of paper or wherever you like recorded the different pillars that you felt that, yeah, there's an opportunity, there's something that is not right here. And maybe like if you wanted, if you feel good about it, like put it in the chat as well. If there is like which pillar that came out to you, or maybe pillars where it's like, yeah, that is probably something I should be doing something with. If something stood out to you, and you feel confident about it, let's put it in the chat. I don't know, Kayle, with you, like, is there some specific area as we walk through this and as we've been like prepping for this session that you feel is like, yeah, this is something that I can.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, I think in the businesses that I've run in the past, the really hard one, oftentimes it tends to be team. It tends to be culture. You know, each time you sort of add a new personality to the mix, it can be really challenging. And it can be even more challenging to remove a personality from that mix. A lot of times it's really hard to face conflict. And you know, we work in a creative world, and there's a lot of big personalities in that world. And it can be really hard to address maybe like problematic, you know, element in our culture. And I think that's a really hard one to really take action on. I think we all have an idea if there is an element like that, but it can be really hard to act on it, and say, this is a problem, it needs to be fixed. So I think that's a big, it's a challenging one. And I think, to build on that too, I think a lot of people, I know I have in the past been afraid to change maybe a system that wasn't ideal for my business or maybe was holding us back. It can seem really scary to sort of switch from one system to another. But I think that it's easier than ever now to do that. And I think that's why it's such a good time to have this conversation, because I think there's a lot of business owners. We talked to a lot of business owners who are really sort of stuck with the system that they're on, and they want to move on, but they have that lingering fear of like, oh, it's going to be hard. Right. And it's not that hard anymore. It's really easy to sort of make that switch. So those are the two I think that really stand out to me.
Yeah, no, and I couldn't agree more. Like team is a big one for sure. So, and I can see that in the chat as well. Thanks, Michelle, for sharing as well. Struggling with a few things I can see. So team culture, yeah, it's a big one. Like anything that has to do with people, right? I think it's just what it is. Like it's a living organism with people interacting with each other, and as a leader, orchestrating that and building a team culture, it's for sure a common one, and it's not like something we can just tick the box on, right? So just because we like do this right now and we feel like, okay, team, yeah, we should do something about culture. It's not like we can just go the next day and just fix our culture and then it's done, right? It's like an ongoing thing of being clear of like, values and all of that. And also just using that as part of our operation, as part of hiring, through to how we celebrate achievements, what we choose to highlight as business owners as like the desirable results and desirable performance that we want to see, and like how we really integrate that in the operations and make it a day-to-day. And I feel like anyone who would say like, yeah, we're fully on top of culture, there's no work to do there, I would worry, because it's always going to be one. So totally hear you.
It's very rare. Yeah.
Yeah. So great points, Michelle, there as well, on like customer experience, reducing the front desk as well, without negatively impacting clients. Yeah. And I know we have, I could recognize some of the names that I know are users also of the Mangomint platform, where, that's like when it comes to front desk specifically and helping to reduce some of that overhead. That's like one big area that Mangomint as a platform helps you with self-checkout, and the check-in for appointments and like some of those features to help you there. But for sure, like balancing that time when we looked at like finances, where do we have costs that we could potentially operate or optimize? For sure, that would be a common one as well there. And I see Pati as well commenting on so opening a newer business, exciting, and marketing and finance. Yeah, makes sense for sure. Like starting out new, marketing is really important, right? Just getting our name out there, building our brand, getting visible, getting seen, making sure that people find us when they are looking for the stuff that we offer is for sure going to be like a priority. And you might even want to consider, if you're starting out new, you might want to do some things that are helping you kind of, get out there faster, right? So I'm thinking about like even paid advertising using channels if you don't have existing channels there right in the beginning, to then kind of work in these other forms of marketing and that more serves you in the background, things like SEO or things like Google Ads and things that are there to more, word of mouth activities, which are more like longer term activities. So like balancing that, I think when starting out new. Cool. And I love to see the interaction coming in with like more things in the chat as well. We are going over on time. I'm okay to stay a little bit longer. I really enjoy this, so I'll keep going. I do totally understand if there are some people that want to jump off. So I just want to finish off the like last slide that we have, and then I'll come back to the chat because I see that there's more questions coming in there. So keep putting into the chat as well if there's like certain pillars of those 6 pillars that we walked through that is creating some level of making you anxious in one way or another. And when we have that down on paper, like what I want you really to do is to ask why, so what's going on here? Not just leave this as broad as like finance, I don't feel good about finance. Like ask yourself why is that? What is that specifically that is happening there where we could see an energy leak in that business or within the team? Is there a specific team member? Is there a conflict somewhere? Or like, what is it? Like, get as concrete and specific as you possibly can on like, what are those things that are creating that energy leak? So because the more specific you get, the easier it is to build a plan. And that is really what I encourage you to do now following this session. Like we've invested this time together, you have been thinking through like all these 6 pillars, right? Building a plan from here where you choose, 1 to 3 or whatever you think is manageable, and like build a 30-day plan to like go in and tackle these different areas. So, whatever that might be, we've had some good examples here. We might, get some more as well, but, those specific things, what can we do what activities specifically can we do over the next 30 days to address those? And obviously doing that together because you will have things that is working in your business. And I don't want to pass the message here that like all we should be doing is fixing what's not working. We should be doubling down on what is working. That's important to say. But we need to fix those energy leaks because, if we do have that leaky bucket, it's going to be hard to get that excess return in our business. We need to fix those, but also, of course, doubling down on what you see is already working and like creating that plan over the next 30 days. I think this is a helpful exercise to just come back to on like somewhat regular basis. If you have a process today of, every year you're setting goals for your business, or if you're having that kind of like process in place where you're kind of creating that mental headspace on a regular basis to go and think about your business, to do this, like walk through those 6 different pillars and do this exercise of like, am I spotting some areas that we could be doing better here?
Absolutely. Yeah, those things are going to change, right? It may change every year. It may change every 6 months. And it's good to check in on, I think, your initiatives and see whether or not you're actually trending towards accomplishing them, or if you need to make those changes and adjust. So I think that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, awesome. So there are some resources as well available to you for free. So we do run different education. We do webinars like this here at the Salon Business from time to time. We do have like courses and materials and workbooks for like all parts of your business if it comes to marketing and branding and things like that. If you want to be part of that, you can join us on thesalonbusiness.com/join, and there you'll get access to everything that we do. It doesn't cost you anything. So I encourage you to do that as well if you want to get more when it comes to like tactics and concrete advice to move to action, right? Not just spotting what we should be doing, but like moving into action. And there's more things there. We did talk about software as well. So obviously, the Salon Business is powered by Mangomint. This is a software that, in my opinion, is the best platform out there. We talked about like software, becoming a barrier between you and your client, or you and what you want to do. So Mangomint's vision is really to eliminate that, right, and make software invisible. And that's really like the thinking behind that, and make it like easy to achieve and to automate things. So a lot of the stuff that we're going into, and it's like you can go there, you can do a free trial. I know we already have Mangomint users in here that I recognize the name of, but if you haven't tried it yet, just go sign up or watch a video or whatever to see what that is about, because I think you would like it. So yeah, and if you say that you're coming from the Salon Business, that you saw us on this webinar, we'll make sure you get like 30-day extra on that free trial. So you get like 60-day that you can use that software. Awesome.
We've got a link down here at the bottom that you can check out for that one specifically. That'll take you to our special Salon Business members link there. A big thank you to Mangomint for powering the Salon Business and for inspiring a lot of the businesses we've worked with to continue to level up and succeed. And can't recommend it enough. So huge thank you.
Awesome. And thanks for the nice comments in the chat as well on the learnings material. Thanks, Michelle, as well. Thank you for all the questions. It's been great running this. If you have any other feedback, anything that you want to see in the future, because we'll be doing these sessions regularly. Thanks Yumi as well. So make sure to let us know, and yeah, thanks for taking the time. And don't just make this like a theory exercise. Look at your notes. Go make a difference in your business. If not, already tomorrow. So excited for you. Thanks, and thanks for all the nice words in the chat as well. And thanks Kayle as well for joining. So I think that's it from our side. Awesome. Have a
Thanks, everybody.
day. Thanks, everyone. Thank you,
Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Tipati. Thanks, Catherine.
Andy.
You guys are great. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.